Well, with that familiar theme song, or maybe unfamiliar theme song, if none of you have heard it before, we go out to the west coast of the United States and check in with Michael Snyder, who tells us what's happening at the movies this weekend. Hello, Michael.
Well, hi, Alex, and hello, America, and all the ships at shore. And we've got a little bit of movie review activity for you, and I kind of wish it was a little better, but, let's plow forward. Two half-ass formula movies are the so-called major releases this week. But thankfully, the weekend release slate is saved by a handful of really good so-called smaller movies. We'll kick it off with Life of the Party, the latest Melissa McCarthy comedy, which finds her playing a middle-aged mother who returns to college to complete her degree after her husband asks for a divorce. And he asks her for the divorce right as they're leaving their daughter off for her senior year at her sorority house. And, of course, mom ends up going back to her own alma mater where she had never finished school because the husband convinced her to leave. By the way, the husband's played by Matt Walsh. Funny guy. You may know him from Veep, and he's good. But the cast is fantastic. Stephen Root plays her father. Jackie Weaver, Oscar winner, plays her mom. You got Maya Rudolph as her best friend. Chris Parnell. I mean, the cast is really pretty wonderful. And there's so much wasted talent here. There's a scoop of wannabe funny fluff here. It's calculated to be a feel-good female bonding flick as she finally wins over her daughter and her daughter's sorority sisters and, finds love with a young hunk. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's a woman-centered back-to-school crossed with Neighbors and a dozen other collegiate comedies, only with these half-ass rivalries and stakes without many laughs. I like Melissa McCarthy in theory. I loved Spy, and I loved her work in Bridesmaids. But, she's made some pretty meh films. And here she co-writes this with her husband, Ben Falcone, who also directs. And I think they're a little in over their head. You ought to go back to the Paul Feig directed films and hope for something better. Ms. McCarthy. Okay, now Breaking In stars Gabrielle Union and co-stars Billy Burke. It's a thriller about a woman who has to fight to protect her family during a home invasion. Directed by James McTeague, who did V for Vendetta fame. I wish this was anywhere near as good as that film was. Union, by the way, is very good as the mom, but there are no backstories and motivations are kind of supposed to be hinted at. I don't know. They're pretty much ignored. All we have here is a ferocious mother and driven by mother love to make us care about the characters in peril. I mean, Jodie Foster's Panic Room came to mind while I watched this because it's another home invasion action drama. But if that had been set up this weekly, it would have sucked. Burke is the head villain. It's her father's house. She's gone to sell the house and finds that these criminals are there to loot secret money that she never even knew about. Anyway, the action is okay. Burke and the guys who play his henchmen are appropriately evil, slimy, or skeezy, depending on the brand of miscreant being depicted, but the drama is thin despite Union's considerable efforts. It's one of those films which I suppose you could watch this or Life of the Party on video at home at some point, but you might turn them off. A much better film set in a beautiful, bleak kind of island off the coast of England is Beast. The setting for this dramatic thriller is an isolated community where a troubled woman, beautifully played, by the way, by young Jessie Buckley, is having some serious issues, and her family's like kind of laying all kinds of drama on her, and she meets this outsider, this guy who's like who shows up one night when she's wrapping up a date that is less than satisfying and basically wins her over, and they become a couple. But there are murders occurring on the island, and it's an island, so how many suspects could there be? In any event, the guy that plays the new boyfriend, Johnny Flynn, absolutely first rate. Jessie Buckley, really impressive as Moll, the woman who has some emotional problems, is still living at home at 27, and she wants to break away. And this guy is her ticket out, but he may very well be a criminal. He may be the killer. We don't know. But, you know, you kind of root for her, and this movie has kind of got that creepy thrills you want out of a film like this, and it's I was pretty impressed by it. Give it a big thumbs up from yours truly. Beast kind of impressed me enough to suggest that people seek it out, even though it's not going to be a wide release. The Seagull is a new big screen version of Anton Chekhov's play, and it's a solid adaptation with, again, an impressive ensemble, and this one works. Annette Bening's in this one. Saoirse Ronan and Billy Howell play kind of significant roles. Elizabeth Moss. It's a solid adaptation, and it's kind of a prickly, darkly comic examination of love, ambition, and betrayal through the machinations of family, friends, lovers, all these people who are on a retreat in the Russian countryside. Benning plays Irina, an aging, self-centered actress, and she shows up at this retreat with her new boyfriend, Boris, who is a successful writer. It's the usual summertime getaway to see her son, played by Howell, who's an aspiring playwright, and her brother. And there's a local girl named Nina, played by Ronan, who is Konstantin's girlfriend, or at least his wannabe girlfriend, and she wants to get a career in the theater. What ends up happening is lots of romantic distress on all fronts, and it's kind of witty and dark, and it's nicely directed by Michael Mayer and nicely adapted by Stephen Karam, who's a screenwriter, and they've added settings and location shooting that open up the story beyond the original play. And, you know, I thought it was worth checking out under any circumstances. The Seagull, you know, it may be a little stuffy for some, but not this version. I really got a kick out of it. We'll wrap things up with a quick note. The Escape is a terrific dark drama where Gemma Arterton plays a wife who's caught up in her seemingly ideal marriage to Dominic Cooper's character, and she decides to bail. And she is absolutely wonderful. It's written and directed by Dominic Savage, and she's got a young son and daughter, and they're driving her nuts, and her husband expects all these things from her, and everything kind of implodes. Really impressive work by Gemma Arterton, who's, you know, been in a number of films before, but this is her standout showcase. And just for you anime fans, Lou Over the Wall is this trippy animated update of the Little Mermaid fable, where this middle school student finds his life change after meeting a mermaid. It's by the Japanese anime creator Masaki Yuasa, and man, it's brightly hued and loopy and strange and sloppy and occasionally adorable and ultimately fun to watch. It doesn't make much sense. You know, when this mischievous young mermaid with a hypnotic voice wants to join this rock band assembled by the middle schoolers, and it just happens that the mer people and humans are not supposed to interact in this fishing village, or disaster may occur. They are legendary, and no one believes they exist, and then this kind of mermaid shows up. I thought it was kind of cute and crazy, but maybe only for anime fans. What are you watching, Bennett?
Nothing much. Picasso's The Genius series with Picasso, played by Antonio Banderas, which is quite good. And I'm still watching the Trust, which is the Getty situation done as a series, and it's very good. It's very, very good. I haven't seen the movie yet. We're waiting to do that till this is over with, but we can't believe that the movie was any near as good as this, you know. So.
Well, it is, Hilary Swank is in this thing, am I right?
Yep.
And she does good work.
Yeah.
Who plays Getty in this show?
Donald Sutherland.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good cast. And then there's another film. I'm trying to remember the name of it because I think something like 5862 or something. 2 numbers, and then it's subtitled "The Making of Hitchcock's Shower Scene." It is an hour-and-a-half movie. It's on Hulu. It's an hour-and-a-half movie about the making of the shower scene, and it is fascinating. Just fascinating.
Wow. Did a plumber have to come in by any chance?
No, not at all. Not at all. Nothing to do with that.
That sounds like it's. Oh, look, I'm a cineast. I love the movies.
I'm amazed you missed this one because it was released to the theaters originally. So anyway.
Well, in any event, you can catch up to me on Twitter at Culture Blaster and on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page, and join me with Alex Bennett next week with more movies.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. And there's more GABNet coming right up, so stay right where you are.